So here is going to be part 3 of my analysis of Joey Carbstrong and why I think he's one of the most influential vegans in the UK at the moment. And this is the second part of looking at his replies on a Irish radio station discussing veganism. So let's hear what he's got to say here.
Good morning to Sam Chesney, a beef farmer. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Frank.
So this bit I've already covered in my previous video. I just finished it off where he talks about veganism being a cult.
Just another new wave cult religion that we're seeing coming out of the woodwork. I take it Joey's from Australia and he's not really familiar with the animal practices and welfare that we have here in the British Isles and Ireland. You know, farmers in general in Northern Ireland, I can really talk about farmers here. If we look after our stock, second to none in the world, the practices we have are highly regulated by vets who, you know, really at the top of the chain, the veterinary profession is who we have to go by.
So I can't remember what Joey says here, but I'm just going to put my own 2 thoughts here. If you want to get an idea of where the farming industry is going, read the book Farmageddon. And if you're thinking, oh, but vets are in there, oh, vets are going to be okay, there's quite a few stories in here from British vets telling them how they are really there just to make sure the animals are not even healthy enough, alive enough to get into the slaughterhouse. The weird thing is sometimes they're not well enough to be slaughtered. Which seems quite strange. They have to go and give them drugs to make them healthy to kill them, and so on and so forth. But yeah, just because there's vets involved doesn't like so many people get into veterinary because of good reasons, good ethical reasons. They want to be happy to animals, but sometimes the biggest money is in the cattle kind of stuff, and a lot of time it's just a case of just pumping animals full of not paracetamol, that'd be a painkiller. The drugs that they give the cows, and they do it also preventatively. So instead of the cow's ill, we'll give it drugs. It's like just give the cow drugs now, so it doesn't get ill, so it can live, so it can grow faster, and we can kill it sooner. So don't be fooled with the idea of there's vets there. It must be like a cow daycare. It must be great looking after them. No, and again, it's not a case of like the vet. It's not the olden days where the vet would come along and go, "Oh, how you doing? I hear you have a sick cow." It's literally there's a vet on site going from farm to farm to farm with this bag of needles, just going inject, 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 inject. Go to the next farm. It's not. There's not actually really that much. Like we have this vision of it's old MacDonald down on his farm going E-I-E-I-O. It's not quite the same as that. Again, the image from Ireland and Scotland and the UK, our standards are far higher, but the demand is just as high as what it is in other places like America or China, and it's increasing. And with that, the standards generally get dropped. And also in the end, the animals are still killed. What was it? There's something like an actual dairy cow, a real life dairy cow, can happily live to 20 years. In our place, we kill them at 4 years because they're not producing quite as much milk as what they would have done if they stay a little bit older. Same with chickens. Again, it's not this one. It's another book that I've got where they talk about how a chicken can live for like 6 years. Or even more than that. I can't remember what the actual number was. But they're saying now we kill them. This is the egg-laying chickens. But the way that we treat the chickens here, it's such an artificial environment where they're producing up to 300 eggs a year, where normally they're only producing between 40 and 50. And they're so destroyed that after 2 years, they go from 300 maybe down to 200 eggs a year. So still 4 times more than it would do naturally, but it's not quite enough. So they just slaughter them. Because it's cheaper to get, or it's more economically viable to get younger ones that can produce 300 to take up the space of the older ones. So it's like we're killing them at a quarter of their natural lifespan and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's not just the happy chicken that pops out an egg down in your back garden. It's industrial farming. It's just so horrific. But anyway, sorry, I'm on a rant there. What does Joey say? I'm sure he's got a far quicker response here.
You talked about slaughterhouses. All the animals go into a slaughterhouse are veterinary inspected on the way in during the process, and actually coming later on in the year, it'll all be videotaped for any abuse or maltreatment of those animals. Now, we produce beef here, and I thought that any of my animals on my farm were being maltreated or mistreated anywhere, I would be the first in the line. Joey wouldn't be in the first in the line. I would be, as many farmers in Northern Ireland would be. We are very, very conscious of our livestock, our animals, their welfare. We treat them with dignity. You know, we are very, very much farmers and environmentalists as well. On this farm here, we have all sorts of wildlife, with foxes, with squirrels, with kites, with buzzards. That just doesn't happen with maltreatment of animals. Now, Joey suggests we all should be eating vegetables. So where do those vegetables and those other proteins come from? So,
did an actual farmer just say, where do vegetables come from? I make beef. No, like I produce cows. He's a beef farmer. He's not a cow farmer. He's a beef farmer. Where do these vegetables? Did he actually say that? Hold on, I can't believe a farmer just said, where do these vegetables come from?
That just doesn't happen with maltreatment of animals. Now, Joey suggests we all should be eating vegetables. So where do those vegetables and those other proteins come from? Soybean comes from South America. Brazilians are cutting down the size of whales every day of rainforest to grow soya. And then it's put in a plate.
So this is the case of, there's a phrase of a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. So the farmer has a little bit of knowledge. He knows that there are soya farms in Brazil, and we're chopping down trees for soya farms, for soybean farms. That's where all those vegans are getting their protein from. The problem is, I think, I can't remember what this, oh wait, in fact he's put something up here. A lot of the soya that's been put on these farms are not human grade soybeans. They are cattle grade. They're put there on land which is pretty guff for growing anything, because it was just forests with very poor land, and soy is one of the few crops that can actually grow there, but even then it's pumped with chemicals and all that kind of stuff, and it's at a level which is not really human grade. It's actually just like, bundle up, give it to cows, and they literally put it on trucks and send it to America and feed cows in America soy. Again, lots of cows out in the outback and desert land want them to be fat, give them this high protein soy. And from what I've been told, I checked as well, a lot of it comes over to the UK as well. What was it? I was also watching something else about how there's a mineral block that they get sent over for cows in the UK as well, because the cows don't get enough nutrients or vitamins and blah, blah, blah. And there's just this giant red rock that farmers put in their farm so the cows can go along. It's like a big block of salt. That cows go along and lick it so they get enough vitamins and all that kind of stuff. Again, from a diet which we've artificially created for these cows so that we can produce them faster and bigger and stronger in a shorter period of time. But anyway, so yeah, the farmer, a little bit of knowledge. Oh, soy, we're cutting down soy. If all the humans ate the soy from what we cut down in Brazil, we would have so many calories, so much protein, we literally wouldn't need to eat any other vegetable. That's the amazing thing there. However, we like a varied diet. We like our cabbages, our potatoes, our turnips, our tomatoes, our strawberries, or all that kind of stuff. So when the farmer is like, oh, where are we going to get this stuff? It's like, it's not just soy that vegans eat. And the soy which you're talking about is not all given to humans. It's actually majority of it goes to cattle farming. Oh, rant on.
Flowing across the world, the carbon that's produced from those flights across the world are destroying our atmosphere. They're destroying our climate.
Yeah. So 91% of Amazon deforestation is to grow soybeans to feed to livestock.
Thanks, Sam, in fairness, of the farming industry. I'm going to let Joey reply to that.
Okay, so I don't deny the fact that you look after your cows. I would never suggest that. The point is when you send them onto that truck, even in the most highest welfare conditions, They get a bolt gun in their head, they get hung up by their leg, and they get slashed across the throat and chopped up into a million pieces so people can eat their bodies.
Oh, and let's not even get started with halal meat. Oh, because there's like a priest there that will go, I pray for this cow, and it's got to be conscious when they kill it. That's great. So yeah, let's, if you're even to bring in quite a lot of people in Ireland or Northern Ireland or into the religions and Christianity, I don't think Christianity's really got a way of you have to kill animals, but certainly Muslim and Jewish ways of their meat halal and kosher. No, not the friendliest of ways either. So yeah, the way that we majority of it done over here is like yeah, at least they're bolted in the head before they're hung up and have their throats slit. Huh? That's a good way.
Where it ends. That's where the welfare ends. Okay, because that is not looking after an animal. That is using them for their body. And
I have seen this process. I have witnessed this process in our local abattoirs, and it's instantaneous. It is so quick. These animals do not know where they are.
Irrelevant. They don't want to die, my friend. You know that your cows do not want to die. What sort of animal do you farm? Cows?
Sorry?
Do you farm cows or sheep?
We have cows and we have sheep.
Okay, so do you know your animals do not want to die?
Our animals don't know. They don't
want to die, my friend.
They have no recognition of what. They have no impending impression of what's going to happen. That's why I say this process is so smooth and slick.
That's an interesting one. To back up your, it's okay to kill animals because we kill them so fast that they don't even know they're going to die. That's an interesting one, but it's like if you take that out of the animal context and you put it into any other, it's like, oh well, yeah, I've been. Like there's a spate of people poisoning cats or stray dogs down in England somewhere. It's all over the news just now, and it's going to get it's terrible. These cats get ill, they throw up, they get disease, blah blah. It's all very terrible. But imagine if the guy or the person who is poisoning these cats said, "Do you know what? It's okay," or he did a different type of poison which kills them instantly, or he's going around with a samurai sword, sees a stray cat, chop, head off, done. You know, how many cat owners would be like, that's so ridiculous. You're just like, but they didn't even know they were going to die. They're stray. They're probably going to send disease around the place. They're probably going to kill other animals. They're probably going to break into houses and do stuff. So, I did the right thing killing these cats. Just by chopping their head off. It was good. It was clean. It was fast. They didn't even know they were going to die. So it's okay. It's an odd one. Because with farmed animals, they say, oh, but we eat them and they taste good and they're nutritious. You can say the same for stray cats. It's like, yeah, but they were going to, but not using food as an aspect, but saying we're preventing disease. We're stopping them from breeding with other cats and causing a plague of cats. So it's the right thing to cut cats' heads off with a samurai sword when they're least expecting it. How many cat owners would kind of go, that's not cool? Which is how many vegans see that the farmers are like, well, we kill them really quickly, so it's okay. It's not that bad.
I understand you come from Australia. I understand some of the practices that happens with livestock hauled to Indonesia on ships. I understand.
I've seen UK slaughter, my friend. I've seen UK slaughter, and it's no better.
Just on that, the point that Joey's making is even if the animal doesn't know when it leaves the farm, and even if it doesn't know when it's getting off the lorry at the mart, it will know when it goes through the door. It's not stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think this is a justification for it. Like, even if a human being didn't know they were about to be murdered, that would not change the fact that it's an injustice to take a human being's life. Now, if your pet dog, didn't know they were going to be murdered, it would still be an injustice for me to bolt gun them really smoothly, slice their throat open really cleanly, and chop them up into pieces and eat them. They are no different in the way they want to live.
Really, Joey, you're trying to change people into the way they eat and the way they think.
Yes, he is. Well done, farmer. You figured out Joey's trying to change people from the way that they think and eat, or maybe make them actually think about what they eat.
on them really smoothly, slice their throat open really cleanly, and chop them up into pieces and eat them. They are no different in the way they want to live.
Really, Joey, you're trying to change people into the way they eat and the way they think. You know, through evolution, we've all got sets of teeth, and those teeth include canine teeth for eating meat. Where we're hunters and gatherers.
Yeah, just hold on, Joey. Let Sam finish.
I have no problem with...
Again, a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. We've got these canine... Look at that! That is for ripping dead animals apart. Arrgh! Never mind the fact that they're totally flat. But also at the same time, horses have canine teeth. Yeah, they don't really eat a lot of meat. So the evolution of canine teeth is such a poor argument that's why you see so many vegans who are knowledgeable at this stuff do head slapping because they just kind of go, "Are you really that thick?" But anyway, but again, it's some people just aren't aware of these things. How many monkeys and gorillas have spiky teeth? And it's not necessarily for being a carnivore. It's for fighting. It's for fighting other males and all that stuff. It's not necessarily about ripping animals apart, but certainly the teeth that we've got are flat. And here, it's flat. There's a tiny bump here. That's not really an evolution of an amazing eating process that... I'm not going to go on anyway.
Vegans, I have no problem. What I suggest that everybody eats a healthy, varied diet. Vegetables are very important in your diet, as red meat, because it contains vitamin B12 and omega fatty acids from northern Ireland.
Okay, so I would say the vitamin B12 is fortified and everything, and I'd say that is something which we should all be aware of and something that we should have. However, just because you're eating a diet full of B12 doesn't mean you get it. That's the weird thing. I've got family members who need to take vitamin B12 supplements. Certainly, they're the older members of the family, and they love their meat, they love their bacon, they love their butter, they love... Okay, B12 is not butter, but they love all things meaty and generally ridicule me. And they're like, "Oh, where are you going to get your vitamins from?" And I'm like, I don't know where I get my vitamins from. However, you seem to be eating food filled with B12, but you still need to supplement with it because your body's not accepting it. There's clearly something more of an issue here. But again, B12... Again, in modern day society, so easy, it's supplemented in almost every breakfast cereal, every nut milk, every nut yogurt, whatever it is that's out there, is not an issue. And again, the body stores it up, and so if you take who doesn't take a multivitamin? Is that, like, on every bus I'm driving behind in town today, it's got like an advert for Vitaman or Vitawoman, and it's like some model going, "I've been taking Vitaman for 15 years and I'm so healthy." It's like even people who are healthy and beautiful still take multivitamins. What's so difficult by the multivitamins? The other one, the omega thing, again, is something which I think vegans should be aware of because generally in our Western diet, our diet is so out of whack with how it used to be in the past that they're saying that nowadays we have like omega-3 and omega-6. The body should really have a slightly more balanced ratio of what we consume of that. Again, this is something which is like deep dietitian nutritional stuff that you need to go into. But they reckon when we were Neanderthals, Homo sapiens, our diet, our omega fatty acid diet ratio was almost 1-to-1 or 1-to-2. So 1 omega-3 to 2 omega-6s. Olive oil, which everyone goes, "Oh, olive oil is so great," is 1-to-11. Like, "Oh, that's a bit out of whack." But the rest of the food that we have is actually so far out of the whack that they're saying that it's on average like 1-to-20. If you take a person's weekly diet of food, it could be even like 1-to-20. So for me, for my perfect example here, I came home, I had a bowl of cereal, and I had 3 spoonfuls of flaxseed ground up and chia seeds ground up. Chia seeds and flax seeds are one of the few things where they have a higher ratio of omega-3 to omega-6, which is very unusual. The only thing, or like I think salmon and cod liver oil are the meat versions that are like amazing in omega-3 compared to omega-6. But at the same time, Cod liver oil doesn't go so well in breakfast cereal. Salmon, not really a breakfast thing. So if you're trying to start the day right, flaxseed and chia seeds ground up in a blender on your breakfast cereal, boom, fantastic way to start the day. Anyway, sorry, I just went off on a random rant. Yeah, okay, carry on.
You can get that really easily in supplements. And
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Yeah, yeah. Well, yes, we can.
Health, like your health is your food, or your food is your health.
Yes,
what
it is.
you eat in your younger years dictates how you grow through your adulthood and how you will be able to take education on.
Well, Joey, that's a strong point because, most medics will tell you a healthy, balanced diet includes white meat or red meat, or it includes eggs, it includes cheese.
Okay, well the science is on our side here because saturated fat and cholesterol is only found in animal foods and it builds up in your arteries over time, and 17 million people die a year of heart disease. Now,
Boom.
Part of a healthy diet...
Boom, he's in there with the statistics. 17 million people die of heart disease. Qualifier of that, is that worldwide or is that the UK? That'd be a good one, quite a shocking statistic. It can't be 17 million people in the UK, that's worldwide. But again, then you've got to be thinking like, well, but there's like billions of people, so that's a tiny number. So maybe if you can get the stats down to where it's like UK based, that would probably be more of a shock to everyone.
Include violence. It does not include the body of an animal who didn't want to die. Animals get all of their nutrients from plants to begin with. We're filtering our nutrients through a dead animal's body that was killed in a slaughterhouse. Vegans are healthier. They have less deficiencies on average than non-vegans. And
oh, look, he is on a roll here. He knows the exact answers he's giving you. However, what I would say is he has the same thing as me, where this vein starts popping out the side of your head. Have you ever seen Stressed Eric? Veins! I'm just like going, I've got to get all this. Because again, Joey knows that with these things, time is an issue. So he is having to smash out these stats, these facts, these figures as fast as possible so he can get them all in before he's interrupted. So he is having to speed through them. But my goodness, I don't think there's a single pause, a single single pause for thought. He's slamming through them. Very good.
Peer-reviewed journal, the peer-reviewed studies done by scientists who aren't even vegan support this as a fact. So it's unnecessary. We don't need to eat animals to survive. We don't need it for our health. We're killing them for an unjustifiable reason.
Just there with me.
He's like, kaboom! Got it all in before I got interrupted. Nice.
No, because I do want to, as one final bit, find out where you are, because I think people are interested in listening to you, or maybe challenging you when you speak in public. Sam, how concerned are farmers here? Because this is growing, if you excuse the term, growing legs in terms of social media. A lot of young people are rowing in behind what the like of Joey is saying, and some of them are losing the run of themselves as well. Joey's trying to rein them back in and has criticised them for being, shall we say, aggressive with their terminology and their language on social media. But how concerned are you as a farmer that this may take off now at a global level and people will turn their backs on the dairy industry and the farming industry?
We're not really that concerned, but what we must do as farmers is to ensure that what we do is open to critical inspection, in which we're very reliant on the veterinary profession and all that. And just to go back on the vegetables, you do spray crops to kill bugs. You do spray crops, the worms are dead, so they're all living animals too. So, the vegan isn't completely, as he says, murder-free. No, we're not.
Okay, so the farmer again, little knowledge, dangerous thing. Trying to claim that vegans are trying to be murder-free. Actually, that's not really the statement that Joey said at the start of this show that he's on. It's trying to reduce the amount of harm that's practically possible, whatever, all that kind of stuff. However, also at the same time, the majority of veganism is regarding sentient animals. That's why for me, I'm okay with eating honey. I don't see bees as necessarily being sentient, feeling pain, having feelings, missing loved ones, caring for their children. But that's why I'm like, yeah, honey, it's great. It's just their vomit. Cool, let's take that. But again, when you kind of say, oh, you spray the crops that kills animals, you can't be vegan. Indirect killing of animals, or the indirect deaths of animals for a diet which has less direct animal murder is far more the direction we want people to go. Additionally, the amount of crops which are sprayed and given to animals is still more than what humans consume. So if you cut out all the food that we feed to animals, you're reducing the amount of those indirect deaths as well. However, what I would say in the UK, a lot of the food that we do feed our cattle is the non-human grade food that would go into our food, into our diet. So in other words, if you're like, for example, there is an onion farm. Whenever you take all the onions out the ground, they have a bunch of circles. If the onion goes into the right shaped one, the right size one, that will be human grade. If it goes into one which is a wee bit funky, it'll go into soup grade. If it goes into one which is a bit mouldy, or it's a bit broken, or it's a really funny shape, that goes into animal grade. So we try and not waste any of our food going on there. However, again, the demand for meat and the amount of animals being used at the moment is that this final circle of wastage food that's being given to animals is not the majority of food that we're giving to them anymore. It is more artificial food that we are providing them, like the soya from Brazil and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, yes.
Really that concerned. We're going to have a dairy February, support the dairy industry, a meaty May possibly, and a lamb September. And you know, I have to
lamb.
The vegan if he wants.
Again, I can't imagine many young people kind of going, yeah, lamb September. I love eating lambs. You know, one of my reasons of becoming vegan or more vegan is the fact that whenever I'm taking my kid to like a city farm or to the zoo or reading his books and all that stuff, you're talking about old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and it's all nice and happy. It's not like, and then we eat them. You know, it's like, and a cluck cluck here and a cluck cluck there, here a cluck, there a cluck. Then we slit their throats and eat their breasts. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a lamb with a baba here and a baba there, here a baba, there a baba. Then we slit its throat there. No, we bolted it in the head, we slit its throat and it bled on the ground. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. You know, it's like we're just going, look, they're all cute and nice. Be nice to animals. Don't eat them. Sorry, I just sort of getting all theatrical there with my singing.
That's fair, but don't just ram it down everybody's throat. Let people make a...
Don't ram it down everybody's throat. What part of the meat industry isn't rammed in everybody's face? Every time I'm driving into town and I'm seeing juicy, delicious burgers or cheesy pizzas on the sides of buses or just like every single shop that you go into, it's just meat sections and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the vegan milks or the non-dairy milks is like one section of the side of the shop. We're not ramming it down. Meat is rammed down everyone's eyesight and advertised to us in every single way. Yikes.
Conscious decision. We don't tell people who to vote for. We don't tell people what sort of car to drive. It's a conscious decision. If they want to be a vegan, but that's fine. I have no problems.
Okay, Sam, thank you. So, Joey, people surely should have choice.
Yeah, but their choice involves a victim, which everyone seems to forget. The animal doesn't have a choice, okay? Now, vegans are reducing their harm as far as they can.
Boom.
Okay? Animals, on average, to get 1 kilo of flesh, you need 16 kilos of plant matter. So animals are eating way more plants to get that 1 kilo of flesh than vegans are just eating directly those plants. So
Why, we'd also say that 1 kilo of meat for 16 kilograms of vegetable plant matter and all that stuff, I think that's only the case in this weirdly super fast growing environment that we've got at the moment. I think if you did it the old MacDonald way, where the cow lives for 15 years and only when it's at it's starting to go down from its prime and it's done all its lady cows and it's time to go down and then it's killed and it's lived for all these years, it would be like tons and tons of vegetable matter or plant food for these animals before they're slaughtered for 1 pound of meat. So again, that number I think is actually a very small number in comparison to what would be if it was natural. Which I suppose some meat eaters are like, well, isn't that great? It's like, yeah, but we're killing them way before their time. And we've artificially bred them so that they grow grotesquely huge far too quickly and are lame. You know, the majority of them are all lame because they're dying because they're too fat. And anyway, rant.
Agriculture would be less, so there'd be less crop deaths and all of that by going vegan. Now, in your choice, there's a direct victim involved, just like any other form of injustice. If it was my choice to beat my wife, there's a victim involved in that choice. Just like in eating animal products, there's a victim involved, a direct victim that has no say in this.
So the final question to you, because people either want to challenge you or support you, where are you speaking in Northern Ireland?
Okay, now...
Cool, and that's where it finishes off there. So that Joey smashed it out there with a good... good or shocking image to leave people to think on there of oh my god, so if you choose to beat your wife, that's the same as me eating meat kind of thing. So people would be like, oh, what did he say? That was dramatic, and people would have to think about that. So yeah, that was good. And then he goes on about kind of explaining where he is and all that kind of stuff, and he finishes off with
in the years ahead. We'll be no doubt covering it in the future as well. Thanks to Sam and thanks to Joey.
So yeah, there you go. What a fantastic example of how to debate, how to discuss, how to respond to people who are really trying to push their meat agenda compared to the less harmless animal agenda. So Joey, well done, fantastic answers. I don't think I can. You did it so concisely and so well put with no kind of waffling and ranting, which I do. Very good. Well done. Good skills. Impressive to watch. Hope to see more of that. Cheers. Bye-bye.